Welcome back. The 10th Brics Summit saw international leaders grace South African shores with promises of stronger economic ties. Sanusha Naidu from the Institute for Global Dialogue joins us via Skype from Cape Town now to reflect on the three-day meeting held here in Sandton, Johannesburg this week. Sanusha, very good afternoon to you. So Brics has come and gone. Was it all worth it?
Good afternoon. I suspect it was definitely worth it for Cyril Ramaphosa having to oversee his first BRICS meeting as the President of the Republic of South Africa. He looked very comfortable. He had an easygoing interpersonal kind of engagement with President Xi Jinping of China. He kind of quelled the fears around Putin and the nuclear deal. So I think, in a sense, this was really an interesting time for President Ramaphosa, and of course also reconnecting in a way with different partners in the African continent, particularly around the outreach program. And I think to a large extent, he could be really satisfied with the kind of bilateral deals that came out and other BRICS cooperation agreements that were signed. But I think at the end of the day, we have to unpack what does this all mean moving forward, both in terms of BRICS as a institutional platform for giving direction and leadership to the global multilateral setting, which is in a fragmented way and is in a very, very precarious and uncertain context. And of course, looking at the implications of the trade war with the US and other such kinds of issues with regard to political and economic governance.
To speak about China, someone during the week on social media compared them to the wealthy friend who's buying all the drinks on a night out. And they've bought us quite a few of those drinks. They've invested, they've sent 193 billion rand, I think it is, into South Africa. What is it that keeps the Chinese coming back to us?
Yeah, I think, this is an interesting analogy to draw the metaphor around the friend that buys all the drinks. I think the drinks were worth about $14.7 billion US, translated roughly into between 193 to 196 billion rand. So obviously they have deep pockets. But I think this is part of the Chinese, not just about, the fact that they want to now start upping the ante with regard to their relationship with the various BRIC partners. But more importantly, I think it bodes for their broader political and economic vision with regard to their global footprint. And I think this links into a number of initiatives that the Chinese have spearheaded in the last several months, particularly if you look at the Shanghai Cooperation Organization that was held on almost simultaneously with the G7. There was much more collective identity. There was much more cohesiveness with that. And that's something that China leads on very specifically. It also is about binding some of these relationships and crafting a much more coherent linkage between them. And coming back to South Africa, I think this is the boost that South African economy needed in terms of what Eskom got, in terms of Transnet got in the deals that were signed, and of course what kind of vision that this aligns to with regard to President Ramaphosa's investment and of course creating an injection into the SEZs like the one in Port Elizabeth, as well as creating some kind of manufacturing hub. So I think in that way the Chinese have kind of linked up and said, well, these are probably states that we could invest in. But if you look at the number of countries that came in terms of the Africa Outreach Platform, these are all key actors and key strategic partners with China as well. So it fits within a broader strategy, I would say. And let's not forget that China's hosting the next FOCAC Summit, which is going to happen in September, early September, which is, again, very important to see that linkage between the South African investment, the African footprint, and of course the alignment between the kinds of trade deals and economic deals that happened at BRICS and the continuation of that in the FOCAC process.
Sanusha Naidu, as always, great chatting to you.